And now it's time to preview an upcoming game.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be taking off from Earth. And we might be carrying some refugees with us to drop them off at other planets around our solar systems, like Mars, Neptune, Venus. We're also going to be picking up and delivering different goods of raw, refined, and rare. We might also be attacking the Plutonian space pirates. And we're going to be upgrading our ship's engines so we can go further, our weapons so we can attack other players, and we're also going to be upgrading the cargo so we can carry more things. This is a pick up and deliver game in the space world, brought to you by Crab Hat Studios. It's on Kickstarter right now. Plays 2 to 6 players, plays in about 1 to 2 hours. I'm going to show you how it's played right now, and I'll see you on the other side. At the beginning of the game, you get to pick your color of player board and ship. Now these are prototype components and artwork I'm going to be showing you, but this prototype actually still has some pretty cool components for the ships, and notice the ship miniatures look just like the ship that is on the player board. So you have the different colors of the gray, the green, and the pink or purplish. And over here we have the yellow one, the blue one. That one's a really cool looking fighter. And we have the red one. Now they all start with 2 engines, 1 cargo, 1 weapons on side A, which is the beginner game. They're all the same, but each one of them has a little bit different engines, cargo, and weapons that makes them unique when you play the advanced game. I have the board set up here. It's a modular board for a basic game. There's also a lot of different suggestions for advanced games in the rulebook to set this up in a lot of different configurations for replayability. Essentially, we all start on Earth, which has a lot of green cubes, which are basically refugees. Those are people that will be picking up and delivering to different spots. There's also 3 different types of resources. We have raw, refined, and rare, denoted by the different colors of cubes there. And we'll be picking up and delivering those around too. We'll also be completing missions over the time. And then over the course of the game, that's essentially what you're doing, is completing missions and picking up and delivering different items. Now, a standard game is played over 6 years, but you can play a shorter game if you like. And each year of these 6 years has 4 turns, and each of these turns is a season. So everyone's going to get 4 turns per season, and there's 6 years, so you get a total of 24 turns per game. At the beginning of each year, you're going to draw an event card. And some of these event cards essentially say, you know, roll 2 dice, and these dice can have 0, 1s, or 2s on them. And essentially, you know, depending on the dice, good things will happen, or things will get easier or harder to get. In this case, it's Earth. You get 1 extra victory point for each of those green refugees delivered. Or it could be for Uranus, where you draw 2, and, you know, you could pay double for goods, or there could be no travel. It could be good or bad things depending on what goes there. And there could be some things for upgrades, what makes it easier or harder to upgrade. We'll talk about those later. Or there could be critical missions, where everyone gets a mission card, and essentially they have to complete that before the end of the year, you know, or they lose a bunch of victory points. Different things like that, like typical event cards you would expect. And we've referenced those mission cards. Everyone starts with 1 mission per year that you're playing. So in this case, we've got a 6 player. You get 6 of these mission cards, and you can complete them at any time on your turns. And there are different types, like player versus player. When you attack another player and win the battle, gain 2,000 credits, which essentially is currency in the game. This one's for Saturn. When you deliver 2 more good cubes, receive 2,000 credits. Defeat the pirates. When you defeat the pirates, we'll talk about them later, you gain 1,000 credits. Crew. When you gain a crew member, receive 1,000 credits. Crew members are essentially extra cards that allow you to do some cool things, like, for example, crew members. This is Lieutenant Commander Cliff. And he allows you to roll twice for your engine roll. You keep the higher amount. So it lets you move or get more action points per turn. We'll talk about the engines here in a moment. Or the designer allows you to add 1 additional action point per game, per season. Each year, this will be increased by 1. So what does a turn look like? Well, you've got your 2 engines, 1 cargo, 1 weapons. 2 engines tells me I get to take 2 of these dice and roll them. Well, here I get 1 action point. If I had rolled 2 blanks, I get to roll them again, because you got to have at least 1 action point per turn, and you can have anywhere between 1 and 4. And because 2 engines, 2 dice. You can upgrade these later and get more dice. Cargo allows me to pick up and hold only 1 essentially resource or person there, and weapons helps you with attacking. We'll talk about that later. And this just shows us that we're in year number 1. So I get 1 action point. What can we do for actions? You could pick up goods or people. In this case, on Earth are a bunch of these green refugees. You could pick up 1 because my cargo's 1, and that would take 1 action point. Remember, I'm the blue guy, I happen to be there. I could pick up a cube there. And again, it goes there, and I have 1 cargo. When this goes up, I could hold more items or people. Instead of picking up a good, I could move. And I'm going to move my ship 1, let's just say, because I have 1 action point, and it takes me 1 there. Now, it's anomaly. If you get into an anomaly, you pull a card from the anomalies deck. And they do certain things like either plus action point, or you can trade 1 refined good for 4 victory points. Or you could get, hey, plus 2 action points. You get some good wind in your favor. Or a wormhole. You could travel through the wormhole to any other anomaly on the board and continue turning the other side. So different cool things will happen there in the anomalies. Let's say I was on Venus for my 1 action point. I could deliver my little refugee there. And in this case, with the refugees, you'd get 1 point, victory point, for each spot that it took me to get there. So from Earth, it'd be 1, 2. This would be worth 2 victory points. So you get the victory points, and these ones, they're different denominations, and these 2 are 1. I would have gotten 2 points there. Now, just because I'm here, when you pick up things, it's 1 action point per pickup. But when you deliver things, it's 1 action point for everything you're delivering in that station. So let's say I was going here and I had both. I had more cargo on my ship, let's just say, and I had 2 of these in my ship. I could drop off both a refugee and a good. Now, when you drop off a good, it can't be the same kind that this planet makes. This makes orange refined goods. I can drop off a yellow raw good, but I could not drop off another orange one. So here I could drop off these 2. And of course, I already told you how to get these points. How do we point out the goods here? By default, you'll get 1,000 credits for each of the goods that you dropped off. Now, depending on the type of good, you can press your luck and try to roll some dice to try to make it worth more. For example, I dropped off a yellow, which is a raw good. I get 1 die to roll. If I want, I can roll it. If I get a 1, well, I just keep 1. If I get 0, hey, it's worth nothing. If I get 2, well, it's worth 2 credits. So it's a push your luck element. With the refined, if I was dropping off a orange one, a refined one here, let's just say, you'd get 2 dice. And if you're dropping off a real rare one, you'd get 3 dice to roll. It gets you more chances of possibly getting more credits. You could spend action points on your turn to upgrade. For example, I have 1 cargo. Let's say I want to upgrade so I can hold 2 items. I can upgrade to 2. It costs me 1 action point plus whatever number this is, 2. That's 2,000 credits. And you can't skip any. You got to go 1 at a time. So it's 1,000 credits times the number that you're upgrading to plus 1 action point for every one as well. Engines obviously gives me more dice to roll for my action points. Cargo lets me hold more. Weapons we'll talk about later. That's in attacking. Now when you're moving, if you move into the sun, it's 2 action points. All the other places are 1. This one's 2. And if you're moving into one of these 2 belts, you have to fight the space pirates. First, we find out the pirate's strength. Depending on the year that it is, that's how many dice they roll. So it's the 3rd year here, and so the pirates would roll. Someone would roll the dice for the pirates, and their strength is 3. Now we would roll based upon our weapons strength. So 2. So we've got 2 dice. There's also some cards that can increase this as well. But let's just say we rolled 2. Oh, we got 4. They were 3. We got 4. So as long as you equal the pirates, you win. Now, since we won, if it's the first half of the year, meaning years 1 through 3, we get to gain 1 of these influence cards. If it's the second half of the year, years 4 through 6, we get to get 2 of these cards. And they do certain things like, hey, play any time, and an opponent must re-roll a dice of your choice, or add 2 extra dice to your action point roll, or 2 victory points at the end of the game, different things like that. If you lose, and it's the first half of the year, first half of the years, 1 through 3, you have to lose 1 cube of your choice that you have. You can choose which one. If it's the second half of the game, you lose 2 cubes. And the last thing you can do with action points is attack somebody. So let's say I go here for 1 action point. I can spend an additional action point to attack this player. And just like fighting the pirates, both of them roll the amount of dice of their weapons plus any modifiers that the cards have. So I have 2. And the other person would roll. The attacker has to have more than the person he's attacking. The defender wins on ties. If you win, essentially you get 1 victory point for whatever year you're in. So again, in the year clock here, if you were in year 3, you'd get 3 victory points. You also get to take a cube from the person that you beat and put it, assuming you can hold it. Now, if you lose, you have to pay 2,000. So there's 1,000. You have to pay 2,000 credits to the attacker. And then if you couldn't pay, essentially you have to lose any 1 tech level on a module of your choice. And there's some things you can do on your turn that don't cost actions. You can take any of these face-up mission cards, or you can take one that's face down that nobody can see. You could buy one of those influence cards we showed you earlier for 1,000 credits, or you could get a crew member for 4,000 credits. And we've talked about both of those cards earlier in the video. So over the 6 different years, 4 turns per year, you're going through these different actions. At the beginning of each year, the planets are getting replenished with certain goods, and depending on the type of goods that they supply, a certain amount of dice will get rolled, so things will be adding to it each year as well. And you can continue to play this until one of 2 things happens. Either you get down to the end of the world, or when the last person from Earth is picked up, everybody else gets 1 more turn, and at the end of the game, there's some end game scoring. So at the end, essentially, all the victory points that you have, and then all the credits are worth 1 point per 1,000 credits. Any undelivered good is worth a point. Any undelivered passengers is worth 2 points. Each incomplete mission is worth -1 point that you have. And then you resolve any influence cards, and the one who has the most points at the end is the winner. All right, well, there is 8 Planets, Captains of the Solar System from Crab Hat Studios. This game's got obviously a lot going for it. It's a space theme, which is very popular right now. Pick up and deliver mechanism, which a lot of people like. Then you mix in some take that, where you're taking stuff from other players, and then also the press your luck mechanic of getting more money for the different things that you put in. Blend some interesting mechanics to each other. So if this interests you, you might want to go to the Kickstarter page. There's going to be a link showing up just after this video below me. You can go to that link, check out their Kickstarter page, and I'm sure if this is something interesting to you, the Crab Hat Studio guys would love your support.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.